Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel for another little radio video. It is the very first day of fall, 2021, September 22nd, 2021, here in southern Illinois. Very first day of fall, and it's a nice day outside. But in this video, we are going to compare two antennas. We're going to compare my Alpha Delta DX Ultra inverted V dipole that I've had up since the early 90s to my DXE-RF-PRO-1B magnetic loop that I just put up this past spring. Now, out here in the country for years, I never thought I needed a loop antenna. Why would I need a loop antenna? But I decided, I've been reading about them and hearing about them, so I thought, well, why not give one a try while I can? So I bought the one from DX Engineering, and I put it up, and it surprisingly gives you very good results. So we're going to see that maybe at the end of this video, or it may be in the second half of this, or second part of this video. I'm not sure, depending on how big the file size is. But we're going to compare them, and we're going to be using so we can see it better, we're going to be using an SDR Play RSPDX with running SDR Uno. But first, let me give you a little specs on the loop antenna. Okay, now here are some of the specs, and you can pause the video if you want to read this. It covers 100 kilohertz to 30 megahertz. It rejects power line noise. It has up to a 30 dB rejection of locally radiated noise compared to a whip antenna. It's a magnetic loop, and that rejects field electrical noise. It's 38 inches in diameter, and it's made out of aluminum tubing that's all welded. So let's go out and take a look at that here in a second. Okay, before we go out to the antennas and look at them, here is the specifications, if you want to take some time and pause the video real quick to read that. It's a very well made loop, and we're going to go out and I'll show you the two antennas we're going to be comparing. So hang on, and next time we'll be at the antennas. Okay, here we are at the loop. You can see it right there. See, there's the preamp. Now this loop here, it's mounted on a tripod that I made, and this tripod, the bottom of the loop is about 8 feet off of the ground to the top, 8.5 feet, and it's fed with RG6 coax. Comes around because it's mounted on a rotor, RCA rotor. It goes in through PVC pipe, and it goes underground and goes up here to the house. And I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, here's where it comes out of the ground, the RG6. It comes up, got it through PVC, a drip loop, and it goes into a surge protector, and then goes up and goes into the house. Now this wire over here, this is DXE 400 Max coax. The shield is grounded, and that's going to my dipole that we're going to compare it to. And let's go out to the dipole and check it out. Okay, here we are at the base of the dipole. The coax comes up, goes into here. There's a surge protector, another, and it's grounded again back here. Comes out, goes up the pole, goes up this fiberglass mast to the top, and that's 32 feet high. Let me see if I can back up a little bit and we'll get a better shot of it. Okay, I don't know if you can see the wires or not, but there's a support pole there going up, another one coming down, support pole there, and it goes underground to the house. And that's the antenna I've been using since the 90s, and we're going to compare it to that loop antenna that we just saw. So let's go back in the house and we'll fire up the SDR and we'll see how it works and how it compares. Now before we do the comparison, I will say this mast is a DX Engineering fiberglass extended mast. It goes up to 46 feet I think, but I've got it at 32 feet to the top. And the Alpha Delta DX Ultra antenna I got in the 90s and put it up. It's a multi-band. It goes all the way from medium wave up to 30 megahertz, and it works great. But we're gonna compare those. So either at the end of this video or in the part 2 of this video, we're going to do the comparison. So check back. Now before I go in, here's just one more look at the antenna. The loop we're going to be comparing it to. Like I said, that loop is 38 inches in diameter, 3/4 inch tubing, and it's all welded. You can see the seams are all welded. And that's an RC, just a lightweight RCA rotor that I used to turn it. But yeah, there's my big antenna right there, and the loop. That's the ones we're going to put head to head, either coming right up or in part 2 of this video. I'm not sure yet. So let's go in and find out how this works. Okay, welcome back, and to part 2 of the antenna loop comparison. Again, we're comparing my Alpha Delta DX Ultra inverted V dipole that's been up since the early 90s to my DX Engineering DXE-RF-PRO-1B magnetic loop that I put up about 3 months ago. And as I said in the first video, or in the first half of this video, depending which way I'm going to upload this, we're going to be using an SDR Play RSP-DX and SDR Uno software. Now, if you're not familiar with the SDR Play, it's a little black box that plugs into your computer, has 3 antenna ports on it. It has antenna port A, B, and C. The C antenna is a B and C connector. That's going to be my Alpha Delta. Antenna B is a discone. We're not going to use that in this test. And antenna A is my loop. Now the loop is on a rotor, and the starting position is 0 degrees, which is dead north. Right now it's 40 degrees clockwise, which puts it at a northeast southwest orientation. And that's to combat this little bit of noise I have. I don't know if it's a neighbor that lives about a 1/4 mile away from me. I don't know if his wife is working from home and she's got some stuff going, if it's the new cell phone tower that they put about 1.5 miles away from me, or if it's one of these half-century-old electric poles going away down this country road somewhere. I don't know, but it is there, and it's enough to be annoying, but the loop really works, as you're going to see. So let's get into it. So let's launch SDR Uno, and let's put it on 10,000 to start out with, 10 megahertz. Not that. There we go. And over here you see this is the antenna. Antenna C is the Alpha Delta inverted V dipole, and antenna A is the loop. So this would be the dipole, and when you see me highlight this, it's the loop. So let's unmute this, and we'll take a look at the signals, and then I'll switch to the loop and you can see the signal levels are pretty much the same, plus it will clean all of this this is the noise pattern right here, these little lines. So let's start this and you can see it. Unmute it. Now you can see this is the 31 meter band, and here's a little signature of the noise I'm getting, and here's a little bit too, and you can see the noise floor kind of just jumping from the raspiness of it. Now keep your eye on these signals right here, and I'm going to switch to the loop. So here we go. There's the loop. Now you could see some right in here dropped, but you can see this signature of the noise is now gone and my waterfall is clear. Now back to the alpha delta. And I'll let you hear what this noise sounds like. Let's get right in the middle of it. Well, you can kind of hear it right there. You can sort of hear that raspiness in the background. So when I switch to the loop, you watch this little signature will disappear. We'll go down here in a minute, and this will all clean up, and it'll be just a normal waterfall. So keep your eye on that and listen to the noise. So there it is. There's the loop, and that's the loop antenna. Clean audio. All this is gone. This is all cleaned up, but the signals are still there. So let's unmute it. And you can see it right there. So now, let's go back here. Let's go down to about 85. And there's always a big thing right here, so let's try this. Yeah, you can hear it right there. You see there's some signals there, but it's you can see there's some signals here, but it's interfering. So let me switch to the loop and take a listen. And if you notice with the loop, a lot of signals down here in the 41 meter band are still nice and strong. So and yes, some of the signal level will drop, but it takes the signal to noise ratio, makes that better. Even though your signal, you may lose one little S unit or even lower than that, the signal to noise ratio is greatly improved, so the station actually sounds clearer. So let's find a station. Let's do the time station out of Canada, CHU, and we can hear it here. Now see, there's that little noise in the background, and you can hear it. You can hear it in the background of the time station. Now when I switch to the loop, this is how it clears it up. Does a pretty good job.
CHU, Canada. Coordinated Universal Time.
See?
1 hour, 32 minutes.
1 heure, 32 minutes.
Okay, there you can hear it real good. You can hear that in the background. Very good. Okay, now let's go down to 49 meter band, and we can see it right here. Now here it's pretty well quiet, but you can still hear it faintly. But when I switch to the loop, watch it clear all this stuff up right here, and you'll see the signals kind of pop out. See how that cleans that up? So let's pick a station here. And we'll check the display. We'll check the signal meter right here. About plus 20. It's about plus 20 on the signal meter. So what is it on a loop? Let's see. Barely dropped at all, but it's. So let's tune through.
Held in Poland and the Netherlands. And finally, the weather. Thursday should see partly cloudy to clear skies throughout most of the Czech Republic.
Welfare money on the ground at Bubba's feet.
No se acerquen a esas cosas. Esto es una
also expressed their joy for winning one more medal. They reaffirmed that the main objective
Radio Havana, Cuba.
Durante su primer discurso ante la ONU, añadió que si bien
A weaker station. Big antenna. My big Alpha Delta. You can still hear the weaker station, but there's more hash and trash behind it. About 5 to 7 maybe. So let's see it on the loop. Clears it up quite a bit.
Classic model. Plus, up to $3,000 in loyalty cash for select owners. Go
And here again, you can see when I switch to my big Alpha Delta, you can see how much more this pops up here. Back to the loop. Okay, let's do a test here. Let's try Radio New Zealand on 13840. It's probably not coming in now because we're getting into fall, the days are getting short, and it's not really. So let's see if we can hear anything. Again, this is on the big antenna, big Alpha Delta. You can sort of hear the station there, and maybe make a little bit of it out, but let's see if we can, what the loop will do with it. Now if you notice, the loop will make it listenable. Yeah, it's not real strong, but you could listen to it. And you will also notice right in here, these signals actually get stronger on the loop. So in this case, the loop is outperforming my big antenna. So watch right in here. So that's not too bad. And again, This is just a little test of, the loop versus my big dipole. Let's try 15 megahertz. And you can see the loop's bringing it in pretty good. Now you can see down here, you can hear that, and you can really see the signature of it. And again, I don't know what this is. It could be a neighbor working from home. It could be that power line. It could be a cell tower they just put up. I don't know. But when I switch to the loop, completely gone. Now also down here, SDR-Uno has a really good noise blanker. If you use the noise blanker wide, which is on about 163, if I turn that on and leave my big antenna on, it'll take it away. Now back to the loop. Now, I also want to say that if I want to use my big antenna, my big alpha delta antenna, for really faint DXing, because out here in the country it's up pretty high, and if you saw my first half of this video or the first part of this video, you've seen it. So if I leave the alpha delta on that, let's just put it in between stations and where the noise is. Okay, you can hear it a little bit right there. If I want to use my big antenna and I don't want to use the loop for that particular thing, maybe I'm trying to really grab a faint signal, I have a MFJ 1026 noise canceling signal enhancer box, and I will turn it on. I know you can't see it because I'm doing screen recorder, but you'll notice I'm going to stay on the big antenna, not going to select noise blanker or anything, and I will turn on the MFJ, and you will see how good it does. And again, no reduction in signal, but it takes the noise away because it uses two antennas to phase out the noise. So let me mute this. So now I'm going to turn the 1026 on. Now the only thing about the 1026, I have it adjusted for right in here, but you'll notice down here this is still there, so if I was tuning down there, I would have to adjust the phase control and all that to tune it out. You have to keep adjusting it as you go change frequency, which is why it's a little bit of a pain, but it's a small price to pay to eliminate any kind of noise. So right now the 1026 is on, and right there it's off. And here's the loop. And the loop's off.
Mouthpiece. That's what prophecy is, being a prophet.
And
is that you are being God's mouthpiece. It's not the prophet
plus
speaking. It's
getting
God speaking through
close to plus
his
20 on the big antenna.
And so Isaiah
loop.
is saying, you know what?
Not much difference at all,
for
really.
God, he's saying, there is no other rock like me. I don't even know of anyone that's like me. It's amazing. It's amazing. So why would we?
But there you go. That's, I know, you know, it is what it is, but I think it's a good test. But I want to verify and tell you that the alpha delta and the loop are two different antennas completely. The big wire antenna, my alpha delta, it's a passive antenna. which means there is no preamplification at all in line. The loop does have a preamplifier in it because the magnetic loop only sees the magnetic part of the signal, and a lot of times the magnetic part is weak, quite a bit weaker than the electrical part, like a wire picks up. So it needs a little preamp there to boost it up enough so the receiver knows what to do with it. Now, having said that, does a loop outperform my big wire antenna? On some bands it does. Some bands are the same. Some bands it's not as good on the loop as it is. Some bands the loop outperforms my big antenna, as we saw on Radio New Zealand. And again, with the rotor, I can turn the loop, but I can't turn it too much, because if I turn it too much, it'll start bringing that interference in, because I have to have it where it's at to null it out. So I think no, a loop does not take the place of a real good wire antenna. As long a wire as you can get, it does not take the place of it. But if you can't put up a long wire antenna, or you can put up a long wire antenna like I have, I still think a loop is a worthy accessory or a worthy antenna to get, to add to it, and to make your shortwave listening better. Because there are some times where the wire antenna is going to work better. Some instances the loop is going to work better. And having both covers all of your bases. You can switch from one to the other, and you're not stuck with, I wish I had something here but I don't. So I think they complement each other. So I think having a loop antenna and a long a wire as you can or something is a good setup, because it gives you the best of both worlds, and you never know what kind of listening conditions you're going to get. This little raspy noise I've got for 30 years. 30 years I've lived out here in the country. It's been completely quiet. Quiet listening conditions. My noise level a lot of times was maybe a 1.5. Well, this just started a few months ago when they started the working from home and lockdowns and stuff. And that's why I think my nearest neighbor, about a quarter mile away from me, is doing something or working from home or has something plugged in. I have my electric company. They're investigating it. I also filed a noise complaint with the FCC, and they're investigating it. So hopefully it will be cleared up before too long. But if it's not, I still have a way I can listen and keep my quiet conditions and filter that interference out without losing much signal quality, either with the loop or with the MFJ 1026. So with that, I'm going to say, thank you guys for stopping by, spending a little time watching this video, and I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please give it a like, or if you want to subscribe. I don't push it, because I just don't have a lot of time to spend on YouTube, but I try to do what I can. So hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. I probably left out a lot of things. I'm sure you still have a lot of questions, but hopefully at least you got to see the demonstration of a big wire antenna and a loop. And again, that loop was only about 8 feet off the ground in my backyard. So I just want to wish everybody a good night. Stay safe. Thanks for stopping by, and take care, everyone. I will see you next time.